Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Wellness Tea. This is a series of interviews with wellness practitioners where we drink tea and ask questions about how they can better help us understand what they do, how they help us heal, grow, and become the best human beings we can possibly be. Today, I'm sitting down with Michelle Leopold, a transformational coach, consciousness facilitator, and all-round human potential igniter. With a degree in psychology and a career in corporate HR and recruitment, Michelle spent years studying what makes people tick. And now she helps them unlearn, realign, and rediscover their purpose from the inside out. She brings depth, heart, and practical tools to her sessions. And today she's here to help us better understand what life coaching and transformational coaching really is. So pour your tea and join us in this conversation. So this is Michelle Leopold. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's dive right into it. So you've gone from corporate talent and transformation to deep coaching and consciousness work. What sparked that shift?
Sure. Big question right out the gate. I think for me, being almost in a space of observation, I was privileged enough to be in a space of observation where being in HR wasn't really sucked into the day-to-day, and it almost gave me an opportunity to, I suppose, engage with more people. It also gave me quite a wide reach because HR it obviously deals with all the departments. So it gave me an opportunity to see that people were struggling. And often there's this mentality that, as you walk in the office door, you leave your personal stuff at the door, and then when you leave the office in the afternoon, you pick up your personal stuff and then, you go home and deal with it. And it doesn't actually work out that way. We are one being. So, just finding that people had life struggles, and potentially those struggles were impacting their performance at work, were impacting how they were engaging with others at work. And I suppose I sort of just fell in love with finding how could I make it easier for people, or how could I be a better support for people to sort of balance out what's going on at home and the challenges of work, and trying to navigate just being
so
an
much
adult, really.
more holistic view of life and not just these.
As humans we have a really bad habit of compartmentalizing. So this is my drama with my mom, and this is my drama with my friends, and this is work, and this is my kids, and this is but the reality is that we are one being, and it's really just trying to find ways and how do I find support for people.
Amazing.
To cope with all the different nuances.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. That's a great answer. All right, next question. Let's start with the basics. What actually is life coaching or transformational coaching, and how is it different from therapy or mentorship?
The easiest way for me to, I suppose, separate coaching is very much self-driven. There's an element of responsibility that you would need to take as the person stepping into a coaching scenario. Coaching is very much dealing with what is happening right now, and looking at the future. Where do you want to be? What direction do you want to take in? So it's very future based. Mentorship is slightly different in that there's potentially a little bit more advice giving, hand holding, guidance around how to do specific things. Whereas coaching again it's a supportive environment where me as coach allows the person to come up with their own story. Like, what do they want? What do they want to achieve? What direction they want to go in? What are the steps that are needed to take the next step to get to that place that they want to go? And then with therapy is very different. It's usually linked to something a little bit more deeper and psychological. And therapy, again, is more looking at what happened in the past, what is happening right now, but more, because of what has happened in the past.
Okay.
And dealing with those sorts of traumas. It's not to say that trauma doesn't, trauma is something that if it's happened to you, it's happened to you. It's not like you said, tell yourself, well, I'm going into a coaching session now, I'm going to leave my trauma at the door. Again, we're one person, so it's not that it doesn't come up, or that sharing trauma or sharing personal experiences or things that happened is not the place at coaching. It's more just, instead of getting stuck in, what happened in the past, it's okay, well, where are you now and where do you want to be and what are those steps to get through that?
Okay.
And sometimes in coaching relationships, I've had situations where a person's had to go and see a psychologist as well as seeing me.
Okay.
If that supports, other elements in their lives that need more psychological support. Okay. So it can be done twofold.
Yeah.
But normally, for me, a really good coach would be able to ascertain, within the first couple of sessions whether the person is a candidate for coaching, or whether they possibly need more of a counselor, therapist type.
Okay, before they
person.
can. So if I understand correctly, coaching is more to do with you have dreams and goals, and you're not 100% sure how you can get there. So a lot of people are stuck where they are, but they see the vision for their lives and they don't know how to reach their dreams or their goals, and what is blocking them, what is stopping them, or even the steps to get there.
Yeah.
And you are someone that can help them understand and navigate that path.
It's almost on some level like an accountability partner on some level, with the added bonus that, through the coaching conversation, I'm there to support the person to create their own life. So, not feeling so alone and not feel, like you said, that element of stuckness. Often people, they might have the big dream and they have it so clearly in their mind, but have absolutely no idea how to get there.
Yes.
For me, it's got to be self-driven. You go to a coach because something within you is looking for someone to support you.
Okay.
Often, if you're not committed to the coaching, you're not committed to even achieving your dreams. So it's a big thing to step into. For me personally, I think it is.
It is a big thing to step into, but I suppose dreams require bravery and big energy.
100%.
So maybe just walk us through the very basics of someone that is nervous to start coaching and they come to you for a first session.
So for me, my general process is I like to have, whether you call it a meet and greet, a connection call, whatever you want to call it, a coaching relationship, it needs to work. There needs to be trust. There needs to be flow. So there needs to be that initial meet and greet. So for me, I like to take half an hour. I do have questions so that I can get to know the person. Again, for me to, get a gauge on whether they are a coaching candidate. Again, not everybody is ready for coaching.
Yeah.
And so it's important for me to collect a little bit of information about the person, but also for the person to see if they vibe with me.
Okay. If there's chemistry.
There needs to be chemistry. Otherwise, building on something where the person sitting across the table from me or online from me or in the same room as me is not feeling confident and comfortable enough to share, I can only work with what I get given. So it just makes the relationship a little bit, more challenging, and it doesn't allow for the flow. So for me, it's always at least a 30-minute connection call. I normally run through what my process is. And again, I structure my sessions. I know even that word is maybe the incorrect word. Everybody's different. So some people like to have a structured session, and I have structured sessions. They want me to ask them the same thing every time, and we follow the same process. I'm happy to do that. Other people, it's more free flowing. Before I've even said hello, they're already on it. This is what's happened. This is what's going on. And then it's very natural where the conversation goes. And other times it's more prodding and poking and seeing, what really is going on. So I tend to keep the sessions quite open and free flowing for whoever is sitting in front of me to sort of, how do they want the relationship to look?
Yeah.
And it's something that I do collect in that first connection call. If they agree, it's, well, if you want to choose me, how do I show up for you?
Okay.
Do you need me to be blunt?
Yes.
Do you need me to be gentle? Do you need me to phone you at 6 o'clock in the morning? And I'm joking, I'm not going to do that.
So it means getting up at 6 a.m.
It's asking what do they need, from me as coach, and can I show up for them in that way as well? So
that makes a
again,
lot of sense.
it's information that I collect, and I kind of build the relationship to suit.
And if someone is nervous, coaches are there for human beings and understand human behavior and that there might be nerves. So a good coach is going to be able to help you just to understand a little bit more of what you bring to the table and if there is a connection there.
Yeah.
Okay. 100%. Thank you. Alrighty, next question. Is transformational coaching always about these big life shifts or big mindset shifts, or is it more about the subtle changes of everyday life?
It can be both and everything in between.
Okay.
What may be a big boulder in your life might be a tiny pebble in somebody else's life. So for me, it's really about whatever potentially is blocking, stopping, preventing you from moving forward, whether it's a big thing, a small thing.
Okay.
It's not really, like I say, sometimes we think something is bigger than what it actually is.
Yeah.
So I don't see things in that way. And not just because I am a coach, but I think everybody needs a safe space, somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
I find as humans, we often hide bits and pieces of ourselves, even with loved ones.
Yeah.
So
or have blind spots, right?
100%.
Yes.
So having that somebody that you can trust and you can go to, and even if it's just to offload, okay, this week, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm not sure how to cope with it. Anything from my mother-in-law is coming to stay with us for a week and I don't know how to deal with it. Might not seem like a big thing in other people's lives, but it could be life-altering for other people. So for me, it's like whatever. Life is messy and life is complicated. So whatever you bring to the table, it's not, whether it's big or small or.
Okay. And there's still going to be, even in the subtle shifts that they might not
100%.
realize, there's going to be transformation.
100%.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. For me, I think I'll share, like for me, when I started with, my own transformational journey, I had this picture in my mind of like, bunnies and rabbits and picket fences and, you're going to skip
everything's
through.
going to be better.
Yeah.
Instantly.
And it's really, it's about putting in the work. So yeah, for me, everybody has some kind of mess in their lives, and it's just finding that person to speak to.
Yes, and help you clean it up,
process, clean it up,
absolutely,
keep moving forward.
Okay, I think that's helpful. Thanks, Michelle, for spending some time just on the basics of life coaching and transformational coaching. We're gonna leave it there for now. If you have any more in-depth questions, you can send them through and we can go over them with Michelle. I think my last question to you is, how I'd like to end it is find out if you're working on anything exciting at the moment, and just tell us a bit about your goals and your visions and your dreams.
Thank you. Yeah, so at the moment, there's a couple of projects on the go, under construction, as they say. I'm busy finalizing the framework for a graduate program.
Okay.
I found specifically is why I feel so passionate about it is young people, through no fault of anybody's, it's just they come into the workplace with very, I'm not saying unrealistic expectations, but the expectations of young people walking into corporate and what corporate are looking to get out of their youngsters is often misaligned.
Okay.
So it's really about supporting them to get good grounding for themselves, to build their own platform from which, they can then launch their career from.
Amazing.
And not necessarily, waiting for corporations to build them a platform. It's really taking ownership of their own journey and taking ownership of where they want to take their careers. So it's creating that foundation and that support.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's very exciting.
Very excited.
Yeah, and I will link Michelle's details below, and if you want to get in contact with her for intro call or exploratory life coaching journey with her, I'll put all her details there. Thanks for joining. If you have more questions about life coaching, we can sit with Michelle again. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolute pleasure.
And we'll see you next week. Bye. All right, guys, that's the tea for today. Thanks for watching. If you have more questions, please let me know. And stay curious, stay well. And if there's anyone that you would like me to interview, or you are a wellness practitioner and would like to be interviewed so people can better understand what you do and how you help them, please, send me a message and we can organize something. Have a beautiful week. Bye.